I talk about Whoopi Goldberg because I got so many texts this week because she attacked me the week before. Sure. So everybody was like, "Oh, Bill, I get you're enjoying the karma." First of all, I'm going to talk about this at the end of my show next week, teaser. But there is no fucking thing as karma, okay? Get over that.
It's the kind of drama that makes you pause your life and ask, did that really just happen? Bill Maher, the unflinching voice of reason, the man who always has a sharp jab ready, took on none other than Whoopi Goldberg in a heated live TV moment that left everyone stunned. This wasn't just another political debate or celebrity back and forth. This was a masterclass in logic, wit, and public takedowns, with Maher effortlessly dismantling Goldberg's arguments, and her stunned reaction, well, it went viral fast.
The fact that his bond...
Hold on, sir. I have to stop you with the camera because I can see you. So do me a favor, don't pull it out again.
Goldberg, long known for her dominant role on The View and her passionate yet often controversial takes, stepped into the ring with Maher, thinking she could stand her ground. What followed was a rhetorical beatdown that had the media buzzing, social media on fire, and fans of both camps left questioning everything they thought they knew about these public figures.
Term woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything, and I know that you're...
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected. Yeah. So
Bill Maher has never been one to shy away from a challenge. Whether it's politics, pop culture, or the bizarre twists of modern-day social discourse, Maher's commentary is never short of confrontational. But when he goes head-to-head with someone like Whoopi Goldberg, who has decades of television credibility and a reputation for dominating debates, you know sparks are going to fly. And fly they did.
Part of our sorry racial history in this country is that the point of view from a black person is often going to be very different and sometimes shocking to a white person.
The battleground? A heated exchange about the state of American politics, wokeness, and the divide in the public's view of what's right and wrong. Goldberg, ever the bold one, threw out a few jabs at Maher's stance on Black Americans wanting better jobs, a stronger economy, and responsible policing. To Goldberg, these points didn't seem like universally agreeable goals. Instead, she tossed them aside with a wave of dismissive rhetoric. She quickly veered off course into the comfort zone of wokeness, dragging a much more complex argument into the mud.
This is not something we're doing because it's, sexually gratifying. This is what we're doing to protect our families. And you don't have to do it, but stay away from everybody.
Bill Maher, however, wasn't fazed. He responded with precision, calling out Goldberg's approach. "You're flipping through the woke playbook like it's a manual for winning debates," he quipped with his signature smirk, only to watch Goldberg flail. The audience sat in awe as Maher cut her down, exposing the weaknesses in her arguments with surgical precision.
And finally, new rules. Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry.
Goldberg had entered this confrontation thinking she could school Maher on matters of race, politics, and ideology. But what came next was not what anyone expected. As Goldberg attempted to tie her views on wokeness to her defense of certain political policies, Maher's response was as sharp as it was unforgiving. Goldberg's arguments felt scattered, almost as if she were trying to get away with throwing anything at the wall to see if it would stick. But Maher wasn't having it. He wasn't going to let her wave off his legitimate concerns about the direction of political discourse. His critiques weren't just about her specific comments. They were about the entire state of public debates.
You think it's hard being a black man in a white man's world? Try being a white woman who feels bad about you being a black man in a white man's world.
With an air of confidence, Maher laid out his case. What you're doing here isn't debating, it's grandstanding. For someone like Maher, who thrives on challenging the status quo, there was no room for what he called performative wokeness in the conversation. This was about real change, about policies that actually resonate with the average American, not about ideological purity. The moment Goldberg found herself cornered, the tension on live TV was palpable.
like America is. We're mixed. We're a mixed bunch. And sometimes it may seem like there's more Democrats, and sometimes it seems like there's more Republicans. But the truth of the matter is, very few people seem to bite it because they're Republican.
The audience watched in stunned silence as Goldberg tried and failed to recover. She attempted to bring up unrelated political agendas, but Maher was relentless, dismantling her counterpoints one after another. As her arguments grew weaker, it became evident that Goldberg wasn't just losing the debate. She was scrambling, trying to hold on to whatever shred of logic she could.
The change that's happened in the left, watching people protest for a terrorist organization like Hamas, that straightened me up pretty quick.
And who can blame her? The stakes were high. The exchange wasn't just a debate, it was a spectacle. Maher wasn't just defending his position. He was exposing the intellectual dishonesty he saw in the woke arguments that have flooded modern discourse. Maher laid bare the hypocrisy of the very political talk, shows that pride themselves on diversity and inclusivity. Goldberg, who had spent years holding court on The View, had nowhere to go.
Oh, I could tell you why.
I know, but it's just like you.
Because it was stupid to begin with.
Yeah, but
Let me ask you, who's it for? And if you're a racist and you see end racism in the end zone, you're going to stop being a racist?
Goldberg's usual condescending smirk had disappeared. Her body language shifted. She seemed uncomfortable, caught in a corner she couldn't escape from. The audience, once in her favor, sat there frozen. The dynamic on stage had completely shifted. No longer was Whoopi Goldberg the dominant voice. Now, she was the one on the defensive, and Bill Maher had taken full control of the narrative.
But life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
What followed was more than just a takedown of Whoopi Goldberg's arguments. It was a much-needed wake-up call to the entire left-leaning cultural establishment. Maher's critique wasn't just about The View or Whoopi herself. It was a broader critique of what he saw as the growing trend of ideological rigidity in the political and media landscape. We can't keep pretending like everything is about race or wokeness or the latest moral outrage. Sometimes it's about getting jobs for people who need them. It's about making the economy work for everyone, Maher said, cutting through the clutter with a truth so simple that even the most staunch critics could not deny it.
Ridiculous, but it's a war.
Why?
It's a war. Because it's a war, and they were attacked, and they're defending themselves. Now, this is a war. Do you think Hamas needs to be destroyed? This is the question.
For Maher, the problem with the current political environment wasn't the fight for social justice. It was the way certain factions of the left had hijacked the conversation, focusing more on appearance and virtue signaling than on the issues that truly matter to everyday Americans. And who better to call out this issue than Bill Maher, a man who's made a career out of standing up to the hypocrisy in politics, media, and culture? His response to Goldberg's arguments was clear and concise, and he didn't just expose her contradictions. He pointed out the flaws in the system itself.
It's kind of a cancer on progressivism. I've been saying this for years, that first of all, you have to stand up to Twitter. Twitter isn't us. Twitter isn't the rank and file Democrat. It's not even most liberals.
The fallout from this fiery exchange didn't just affect Whoopi Goldberg. The entire show, The View, began to feel the heat. Known for its chaotic and often combative debates, The View thrives on controversy. But Maher's take was like a spotlight exposing the show's deeper issues. It was no longer just about discussing opposing viewpoints. It was about tearing them down for sport.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I could have helped you with all of that.
I did ask you, Whoopi.
No, you did not.
And Maher wasn't the only one calling out The View. Social media exploded with reactions, and the criticism was hard to ignore. Fans of the show were divided. Some were thrilled to see Maher go toe-to-toe with Goldberg, while others were uncomfortable with how easily the show had shifted from a place of discussion to a platform for ideological warfare.
He spoke and did this with several different soldiers. I don't have an issue with it. The older, if it's about age, which everybody's trying to make it about.
If The View wants to survive the fallout, it might need to reevaluate its approach. In a time where nuance and balanced discourse are often overshadowed by sensationalism, The View's future is now in question. Bill Maher's critique has opened up a broader conversation about the role of media in shaping political discourse, and whether shows like The View can remain relevant without evolving to meet the demands of an increasingly diverse audience.
Abraham Lincoln was not a controversial figure among liberals. We liked him. Now they take his name off schools and tear down his statues. Really? Lincoln isn't good enough for you?
One of the most striking aspects of Maher's argument was his relentless dissection of what he calls the woke mob, the self-appointed moral arbiters who, according to Maher, focus more on policing language than actually solving problems. Maher's stance is clear. The woke left, in its attempt to safeguard a narrow set of ideologies, has alienated many voters who simply want to see practical, sensible policies put into place.
Collection of ideas that are not building on liberalism, but very often undoing it. I mean, 5 years ago, Abraham Lincoln was not a controversial figure among liberals.
It's not about having a discussion anymore, Maher said. It's about enforcement. You either fall in line with the agenda or you're out. This line perfectly encapsulates the frustration many feel when it comes to contemporary political discourse. For Maher, the debate has become a battle of who can outdo the other in moral superiority, rather than a meaningful discussion about policies that actually matter.
By reviving Trump's asylum ban, Biden has undermined American values, and then they all stand back and go, we don't want to be called a racist, so we will not make a move on immigration. It's going to get them at election day.
Maher's critique wasn't just about politics. It was about the wider cultural implications of this ideological purity. When the mainstream media and influential personalities like Goldberg turn the political conversation into a us versus them narrative, it not only divides the public, it also discourages constructive conversations from ever happening.
How your doctors work, nobody knows what you need but you. So I want them to back off telling me what I have to do, because that's the same thing that I hear from others.
As Maher continues to point out, the divide in American politics is growing wider. In the middle of it all is The View, a once prominent daytime talk show that's now faced with questions about its future. The show's handling of the Bill Maher debacle has already prompted some to question whether The View's time has come and gone. Can the show still thrive in an era where audiences demand more thoughtful and balanced discourse? Or will it continue to serve as a political circus, offering nothing but sensationalized moments for ratings?
I think that Democrats blew it, as they always do with this kind of stuff, because they've had 4 years. What was all the delay about? Why are we coming to the end? Of course they're going to try to run out the clock.
The backlash against Goldberg's statements is a sign of the times. With so many viewers now tuned into the political landscape, they want more than just a talking head offering their opinions. They want facts, balance, and accountability, things that are increasingly hard to come by on shows like The View. Bill Maher's takedown of Whoopi Goldberg wasn't just about winning an argument. It was about reminding us that the truth is still out there, somewhere in the middle of the noise. While the mainstream media tries to sell us packaged outrage, Maher continues to carve a path of logic and reason, never shying away from tough conversations.
But I would encourage you to sit still for a minute and learn the job.
In the end, Maher didn't just destroy Goldberg with words. He destroyed the very notion that political discourse in the U.S. has to be divided into factions of us versus them. He proved that sometimes it's okay to challenge the mainstream narrative. And in a world dominated by echo chambers and outrage, Maher's brand of commentary is like a breath of fresh air.
Voters keep saying over and over again, we are not comfortable with this level of immigration. I understand why. It doesn't make you a racist to say that.
So, what's next for The View? Will it be able to recover from the backlash, or is it time for a change? And what about Bill Maher? Will he continue to be the sharp voice of reason in a time of endless political noise? We want to know your thoughts. Drop your comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Celeb Titbits, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss the next explosive showdown in the world of political debate. Let us know who you think came out on top in this battle, Bill Maher or Whoopi Goldberg. Until next time, stay tuned.